Speed has admitted his record-breaking Dominican Republic stream was heavily inflated by bots. This backs up claims previously made by XQC and Aiden Ross. But don't miss what Speed's cameraman revealed about messages sent before the stream started, because it suggests the push for a record-breaking number may have been planned long before anyone went live. On the evening of May 6, 2026, Darren Watkins Jr., known to the world as Speed, was doing what he's been doing for months, streaming live from a new country. He brought his Caribbean tour to Santo Domingo, the capital of the Dominican Republic, rolling through the UNESCO-listed colonial zone alongside Dominican radio star Aloof, and even striking out baseball legend David Ortiz on a pickup diamond. It was shaping up to be one of the best streams of the entire tour. And then the numbers started climbing. The broadcast crossed the 1 million concurrent live viewers milestone in roughly 45 minutes. That alone would have been noteworthy, but the counter kept going. By its peak, the stream appeared to hit 1.92 million viewers on YouTube, which would have made Speed the most popular US streamer of all time. In terms of peak concurrent viewership, Speed reacted to reaching the milestone by hugging everyone around him, getting visibly emotional, and continuously shouting Dominican Republic. The internet reacted instantly. Clips of the viewer counter spread across every platform. For a few hours, the narrative was simple. Speed did it. He broke every record. But behind the celebration, something didn't add up. Prior to the Dominican Republic, Speed's Caribbean tour averaged 60,800 viewers per stream. During the so-called record-breaking broadcast, that average skyrocketed to 1.44 million viewers, a 2,270% increase. That kind of jump doesn't happen organically, not ever. And certain people in the streaming world noticed immediately. XQC commented on the situation, expressing his belief that it was pretty obvious that Darren's Dominican Republic live stream had been artificially inflated. I think it's pretty obvious, but there's just a layer of bots today. But that doesn't mean that he is botting, like, you know what I mean? It's probably somebody just doing it to him. You know what I mean? I'm not accusing him. That careful distinction that someone was botting Speed, not that Speed was botting himself, would become important. But before any investigation could get off the ground, Speed did something unexpected. He got ahead of it. On May 7th, 2026, Speed addressed the matter, stating that his recent broadcast was indeed viewbotted, and that his live stream from Indonesia still holds his all-time live viewership record. Speaking to his chat from a boat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, Speed laid it out plainly. We never broke that record. It was a great stream. We really peaked at around like 300K. I talked to the YouTube reps. Somebody botted that stream. So Indonesia still holds the record, just like that. 1.92 million became 300,000. One of the biggest moments in streaming history was erased in under 24 hours. But the questions were only just beginning when it happens at scale. It's not a gut feeling or a hunch. There are patterns, measurable, repeatable patterns, and Speed's Dominican Republic stream checked every box. A viewbot is an automated software script used to artificially inflate the view count of live streams or videos, often with the intent to mislead audiences and advertisers about a content creator's popularity. Digital media scholars have compared this practice to placing mannequins around a carnival ride. The artificial crowd signals excitement to passers-by, ultimately encouraging real viewers to join under false impressions. In practice, what viewbots do is stunningly simple. They connect to a live stream the same way a real viewer would. But they don't watch, they don't chat, they don't subscribe. They just sit there, inflating the number on screen. And that's precisely what the analytics firms caught. The stream's viewership curve appeared unusually flat. That kind of sustained plateau is often associated with viewbotting patterns. A normal live stream, even an enormously popular one, has natural ebbs and flows. People tune in, people leave, they come back during exciting moments, and they drift away during lulls. But Speed's viewer count during the Dominican Republic broadcast held steady. Then there was the chat problem. The number of active chatters stayed roughly the same compared to his prior broadcasts. Although his viewership jumped by a mammoth 2,270%, those actually chatting increased by only 30.7%. Think about that for a moment. The stream allegedly went from around 60,000 viewers to nearly 2 million, but the chat, the single most reliable indicator of human engagement on a live stream, barely moved. That is not how real audiences behave. When real people show up in massive numbers, they type, they spam, they react. A 2,270% increase in viewers with only a 30.7% increase in chatters is statistically a red flag so enormous it's practically a billboard. Another discrepancy worth examining: when Speed hit his original 1 million viewer milestone in Indonesia, he reportedly gained more than 500,000 subscribers during that stream. In stark contrast, the Dominican Republic stream saw no influx of subs for the streamer. This was one of the details fans latched onto hardest. Indonesia had been an organic explosion of enthusiasm. The crowds were immense. The subscriber count surged. The chat was uncontrollable. The Dominican Republic numbers looked nothing like that. The numbers said one thing, but every other metric said the opposite. Streams charts flagged the anomalies publicly, and the comparison was impossible to ignore. Speed's Caribbean tour before the Dominican Republic had been averaging roughly 60,800 viewers per stream. Solid numbers, respectable. And then suddenly, on one single broadcast, the count multiplied by more than 30. Not 2, not 5, 30. The sudden suspicious spike in viewers, often paired with low chat engagement, makes it immediately obvious to the public that the channel has fake viewers. That description, from Streams Chart's own white paper on viewbotting, reads like it was written about this specific stream. XQC was not the only voice to weigh in, but he was certainly the loudest. When XQC tuned into Speed's broadcast and watched the counter climb past 1 million, he didn't celebrate, he questioned it. XQC was confused by Speed's extreme climb, saying there was an obvious layer of bots inflating the broadcast's stats. He noted, "What makes it different today, his views are 30x. There's definitely a layer of bots." But XQC was deliberate about drawing a line. "This doesn't mean that he's botting." The French-Canadian explained, "It's probably somebody doing it to him." That nuance matters because XQC has been sounding alarms about viewbotting across the entire streaming industry, not just about Speed. Back in April 2025, XQC accused Kai Cenat's friends, Reggie and Rakai, of viewbotting their Twitch streams after investigating both of their streaming stats. He pointed out that Reggie started with 800 viewers one stream, and over the course of 2 days reached more than 60,000 viewers alone. He also pointed out that Rakai's chat moved very slow, despite having more than 20,000 viewers watching. The Reggie and Rakai situation had been a firestorm of its own. Kai Cenat did not hold back when letting out his response to XQC's claims, telling the streamer on Twitch, "It just looks like you're duck eating." Cenat criticized XQC, saying that every time he speaks out against him, the streamer claims he is joking and backs away from any confrontation. "And when you say it and I say something, then it's you was joking, so I'm confused. 'Cause when Anaya says some shit, it's, oh, I'm joking, you feel me?" That exchange set the tone for how the broader streaming community would handle these conversations. Any accusation, even one backed by data, would be treated as a personal attack. And so when XQC flagged Speed's Dominican Republic stream, he threaded the needle carefully, pointing at the data, not at Speed. But he wasn't alone. The entire analytics community was ringing the same bell. Fans started speculating that someone was viewbotting Speed. They based this argument on the reasoning that he had been averaging substantially lower viewership during the rest of the Caribbean tour, questioning how such a drastic viewership increase was possible without viewbotting. And then there was the Aloof question. As part of his Caribbean tour, Speed visited the Dominican Republic, where he met Santiago Matias, better known online as Aloof. Santiago is a Dominican media entrepreneur, radio host, streamer, and digital creator, which has an audience around urban music and internet culture. Many fans pointed toward local tour guides and media moguls like Aloof, who have a history of pulling millions of viewers on their own Dominican broadcasts, suggesting they might have sent or botted traffic to ensure a record-breaking moment. Aloof did not stay quiet. He stood firm in his stance, saying that Speed's all-time viewership record was broken. in the Dominican Republic and that he had a significant role to play in the stream's success. That was his mistake. It wasn't 300,000. Because the same contact he has on YouTube, I have it. The record is in the Dominican Republic. In other words, Aloof directly contradicted Speed's own admission. Speed said YouTube reps confirmed the stream was botted. Aloof said Speed was wrong. That contradiction hung in the air, and it made the situation considerably more complicated. Locals took the admission as disrespecting the real turnout and hype from fans who showed up for him. A mural that had been created to honor Speed's visit was reportedly covered over. The backlash was real and it was visceral. The Dominican community felt that Speed's public acknowledgement of botting diminished the genuine enthusiasm that thousands of people had shown up with on the streets of Santo Domingo. Here's the uncomfortable truth that Speed's Dominican Republic debacle forced into the spotlight. Viewbotting isn't some fringe issue affecting a handful of desperate small-timers. It is, according to multiple industry figures, an epidemic that has infected the very top of the streaming food chain. Twitch streamer and Novote TV CMO Devin Nash has sounded the alarm on viewbotting, alleging that as many as 430 of the top 500 streamers are artificially inflating their viewership. According to Nash, roughly 80% of the biggest streamers on Twitch are either viewbotting themselves or being viewbotted. Nash explained that he and his team analyzed the top 15,000 Twitch streams to detect viewbotting by monitoring chat activity and user lists every few minutes. They flagged repeated botted messages, cross-referenced usernames with known botnet databases. Their findings were stark. Most of the top 500 streams showed signs of viewbotting. Around 30 to 40% of viewers were identified as obvious bots, with another 5 to 15% likely coming from embedded views. This wasn't speculation from a random Twitter account. This was a data-driven analysis from a marketing professional whose livelihood depends on accurate audience metrics. Kick co-founder Trainwreck has frequently warned about the severity of the viewbotting issue on Twitch, claiming that some streamers are paying as much as $20,000 a week for advanced bots. $20,000 per week. The fact that streamers are willing to spend that kind of money on fake viewers tells you everything about the incentive structure. Sponsorship rates are often based on concurrent viewers per hour. This incentivizes streamers to viewbot as they can make more money by doing so. Nash believes that advertisers are aware of this issue and are cutting down the budget they allocate to Twitch, which hurts the platform's credibility and the opportunity for creators to make a living. This is not a victimless manipulation. Advertisers pay based on the impressions and reach that a streamer generates. When those views are bots, brands lose money on ads shown to non-human, non-consuming traffic. Campaign results are rendered unreliable, making it difficult for brands to measure a channel's effectiveness accurately. Viewbotting also damages the creator economy, as honest streamers struggle to compete for discoverability and sponsorship dollars against channels that have fraudulently inflated their metrics. This devalues the hard work of the community. The fallout is already measurable. Nash noticed that when his marketing agency ran ads, the largest streams with over 30,000 viewers had the least sales, and 501,000 viewer streams performed much better. Brands are catching on. They're pulling back spending, and the streamers who suffer most are not the massive names with inflated numbers. It's the legitimate mid-tier and smaller creators whose organic audiences are being undervalued, because the entire ecosystem has been poisoned. On July 28, 2025, Twitch implemented new detection measures, which resulted in an estimated 24% drop in viewership across the platform over a 3-day period. A 24% drop, nearly a quarter of the viewership on the entire platform, was identified as inauthentic and wiped out in a single update. XQC highlighted the aftermath, noting that Twitch cracked down on bots, and that viewbotters and victims of viewbotting had been exposed. He pointed out that streamers who are part of groups or organizations appeared to be botted much more heavily. And this brings us to one of the darker realities of the viewbotting epidemic. It's not always the streamers themselves doing the viewbotting. Sometimes it's overzealous fans trying to help boost their favorite creators, or jealous rivals looking to make someone else's channel look sketchy. Malicious viewbotting where someone deliberately inflates another person's numbers to get them in trouble or damage their credibility, is a known tactic. The attacker seeks to trigger two potential outcomes: platform penalty, hoping the platform's automated systems will detect the fraudulent traffic and punish the streamer, and reputation damage, where the sudden suspicious spike makes it immediately obvious that the channel has fake viewers. The question lingering over Speed's situation is whether someone did this to him on purpose, and if so, who and why. Let's separate what has been confirmed from what remains speculation. What we know, Speed revealed that his stream had indeed been botted, saying he'd confirmed the matter with representatives from YouTube. The stream appeared to peak at 1.92 million concurrent viewers, later confirmed as bot inflated, with the real organic figure closer to 300,000. As one fan on X put it, 300k organic viewers is still insane, BTW. Most streamers can't even touch 30k. That's genuinely worth acknowledging. 300,000 concurrent viewers is a massive number by any standard. What we also know is that Speed's career trajectory has been remarkable and largely organic. For years, iShowSpeed has made waves with his IRL streams as he travels the globe. The American has toured almost everywhere you can think of, with China, Africa, and Europe crossed off his list. His live broadcast from Indonesia was the biggest hit of his Asia trip, attracting more than 1 million concurrent viewers. During an earlier leg of his trip in Thailand, he set a personal record with more than 600,000 concurrents. His audience in Indonesia blew that number out of the water. Speed was moved to tears after pushing his audience past 1 million. That Indonesian milestone was never questioned. Nobody suggested bots were involved. The crowd footage, the subscriber gains, the chat activity, everything aligned. It was the real thing. Speed kicked off his Caribbean tour in Trinidad and Tobago on April 25 to 26, 2026. And the capital was not ready. The 21-year-old American YouTuber, who commands more than 150 million followers across platforms, triggered scenes of organized chaos as thousands of fans flooded the streets and brought traffic to a standstill. Speed's Caribbean tour was planned as a comprehensive visit to the islands, stepping into 15 countries in total. In collaboration with Expedia, Speed was taking his viral live streaming across multiple Caribbean countries. This is a creator who doesn't need bots. His organic reach is enormous. His physical presence causes streets to shut down. He has major brand partnerships, so the idea that he would personally orchestrate viewbotting is, based on everything available, extremely unlikely. And that is precisely what XQC said when he commented on the situation. Someone is doing this to Speed, not for Speed. But here's where the title of this video becomes important. The claim that top streamers exposed Speed for botting his streams for years overstates what actually happened. What actually happened is this. One specific stream was confirmed as viewbotted. Speed himself confirmed it. XQC flagged it in real time, but explicitly said he did not believe Speed was behind it. Streams charts provided the analytical evidence, and YouTube's own representatives verified the numbers were inflated. Nobody has produced evidence that Speed has been systematically botting his streams for years. The Dominican Republic stream is a singular confirmed incident. The Indonesia record remains legitimate. The Africa tour numbers were never questioned. Speed is known for traveling the world and live streaming his interactions with different people and cultures from across the globe. His streams average tens to hundreds of thousands of viewers, so while it's not unheard of to see him hit 1 million concurrent viewers, he'll be sure to acknowledge that day when it comes organically, without bots. The broader viewbotting conversation that XQC, Devin Nash, Trainwreck, and others have been having for over a year is real and documented. Nash believes the worst offenders are going to be exposed in due time, but Speed appears to be a victim of that epidemic, not a perpetrator. He came forward within 24 hours. He gave credit back to his Indonesian fans. He didn't try to hold on to a record he didn't earn. We'll have to see what his viewership totals look like during the rest of his tour and future broadcasts, especially if Speed gets his wish and ends up being the first influencer to stream in space. Once he completes his goal of visiting every country in the world, Twitch's latest strategy will directly penalize the creators whose streams see inauthentic engagement. This has raised some concern that the new policy could allow smaller streamers to be unfairly targeted, with viewbotting in order to suppress their reach. And that concern now extends to the biggest creators in the world too. If someone can inflate Speed's numbers by over 1 million fake viewers on a whim, and the immediate public reaction is to accuse the streamer, then viewbotting isn't just a fraud tool, it's a weapon. The real story here isn't that Speed got caught botting. The real story is that the streaming industry has a crisis of trust so deep that even when a creator does everything right, confirms the fraud, contacts the platform, publicly corrects the record, the narrative still spirals. And as long as viewbotting remains this easy, this profitable, and this difficult to trace back to its source, no streamer's numbers can be taken entirely at face value. Not Speed's, not anyone's.